Hey, what's up, man? It's your boy G Love. I'm here with my co-host Fitz. We got two special guests today, Blanco, my man EP, and today we'll be discussing attitude and how it will affect you on and off work. All right, Fitz, go ahead and open up the conversation, my brother.
Cool. So I'm gonna get started with asking y'all to explain your personality. Who are you? Like, what's your go-to reaction to things?
You want to take first?
Negative.
All right, I'll go first. So my personality, I'm a mixture between an introvert and an extrovert. So for me, like I like my own time, and but I also like to go out and communicate with other people, reach out, have fun, but not too much as to where I stand out. I feel like my attitude when it comes to work is very proactive, but then, you know, sometimes you also do come across those situations where you might have to hold your tongue or you might have to express yourself. I find that to be probably the hardest to decipher when and when not to. But yeah.
In a sense for me, like I don't think you should ever bite your tongue. I feel like no matter how you disseminate the information, I feel like you should let it out. I think it's more important, especially what we do in our day-to-day activity. I think it's more important to get the information than it is to be nice. Like I raise my kids that way too. Like, say what you have to say. If you feel some type of way about something or you see something that needs to be addressed, address it. Whether people like it or not, you got to get that out there so people know where you coming from and y'all can get on the mutual page. So y'all feel any type of different about that or?
I feel like honestly, for certain situations, yes. Like, you always have to be able to express yourself and your opinion. But then there's also that professional standpoint where they might see it as, you know, you're trying to come over top of them, and that's not the case. You know, you just want to express yourself. And in order to express yourself, you might have to come out of your character a little bit. So.
That's that tact. That's tact. That's tact. Especially in the military, you gotta have tact. You say again, get the point across, but be tactful about it. You know. And it's just knowing how to say whatever it is you got to say. Be honest, be truthful, be transparent, but have that tact. And that's something that I learned from the military. You know, just having that tact, and what that is that's you're aware of the message that how you're pushing that message out. You can change the message, but it's how you push it out, and because that's gonna dictate the response you get. You know, that's gonna, especially for us as leaders and even with us as parents, as fathers, it's gonna dictate the response we get. Do we want to come across as a dictatorship, or we want to come across as that individual that we're welcoming feedback, or we're welcoming or we're open to their opinion. So that's that tact part.
So I love tough conversations. I love putting people on the spot, like making you feel like you're in a pressure ass situation. You have to respond to that. Nothing but good things come out of pressure, man. Like, it can be extremely awkward for a lot of people, right? However, once you're done, like, the relationship with you and that person just builds. It's that much stronger because you put yourself in that pressure situation. I can relate that back to my boss in recruiting. My first conversation with this dude was just me cursing at him. Like, it's a whole nother story behind it, but like, it's recruiting. He blew up my offers, which means he put comments in on every last one of my applicants who I just got from another recruiter who got fired. So when I saw it, my first reaction was like, oh, what the heck? Like, he made it look like I wasn't doing my job by doing that. So I called him. I'm like, hey, why you blew up my offers or whatever? And he's like, oh, yeah, I reviewed it and I put in comments. I said, you couldn't have reviewed it, and I reacted. It was so much tension from that day, and then we met 2 days after that. And we sat in the same meeting with a bunch of tension. We had like a one-on-one conversation, which was extremely tough. However, he ended up being my best supervisor. I'm not gonna act like he wasn't. But I think that stemmed from us setting that precedence that we're not gonna hold any bars. We're gonna be completely honest with each other, whether we like to hear it or not. So
I think I need to work on my tact. I'm gonna be honest, because I feel like the way that I approach things is very direct, and like your situation.
What's the problem with that though?
I seen you at work, man. I never felt like you was disrespectful. Like, I'm not saying be disrespectful. Don't let me. But I do feel like you should say exactly how you feel. So I never been in a situation where I saw you at work and I was like, Blanco need to calm down. I never seen that. Like, your honest approach, I don't think that's the issue.
Yeah, it's just it gets frustrating when I see like my airmen being taken advantage of or being talked down to when they know what's right. And then when I stand up for them, they make it seem like, oh, you just need to fall in line. And I'm like, that's not how that's the old Air Force. It's not how it is now, you know? So that frustrates me a little bit, but.
I think having the ability to have that, or having that courage to be able to be somebody who can stand on your 10 toes and actually, you know, advocate for somebody else who may
I
be.
approach it. I always approach it.
I respect that.
Definitely got to approach it. I know with me, I don't really have a filter. If I feel a certain type of way about something, you gonna know. I'm not gonna hold it. And even if I do, it might be for like 5 minutes because you're gonna see it on my face. Somebody gonna ask me what's wrong. And after that, it's coming out. I've also learned, like, because before, it didn't matter who you was. Colonel, commander.
Well, why does it
airman.
matter though? Like trying to.
Just the approach to the conversation that I have, I was literally snapping on everybody. I was not
What you mean by
tactful at all.
snapping though?
I was cussing folks out that probably didn't deserve to be cussed out. Through the years, I realized it's not the whole you catch more bees with honey thing. Like, nah, that's not me. I'm still going to give it to you straight, but I'm going to deliver it in a way that you have to respond to that. Not you going to walk away from me because, oh, he's out of control and blah, 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 blah. You're still going to get the information across and it's going to come across right.
Yeah. I feel like I'm really observant. So like, I may disagree with what you say as soon as you say it. And I'm like, I want to say something, my body language will tell you I want to say something to you. And then I'll just keep listening. I'm like, let it play out, and then I'll react to whatever the situation is or circumstance is. But yeah, I try to be as observant as possible. I don't want to like knee-jerk reaction to anything, but you know.
Yeah, I think that describes my personality as far as I don't like the center of attention. I don't like to be in the spotlight. I like to work. I like to be behind the scenes working. I like to accomplish goals or whatnot. But I don't want to be. If I don't have to be the face, I don't want to be the face. You know. But I would grit through it. I would grind through it and make it happen if that's what's needed. But I would much rather be behind the scenes. So that's also goes with in regards to approaching or addressing somebody.
So how do you get recognition?
It's not I don't know. My recognition is seeing the goal accomplished. So that's what I was saying as far as that's my approach in regards. If I see something that needs to be corrected on the spot, I'm more the type of person that'll pull you to the side. And then we'll have that one-on-one discussion. And with that on the spot correction. I'm not a big person to do it where everyone can see it. I would much rather do it one-on-one. So if there is a heated moment, we're gonna handle that right there, not around everybody else, but we're gonna handle that. And at the end of the day, and 9 times out of 10, it works out where again, mutual respect, mutual understanding, and then we know how to move forward. I won't do it in public with everyone. That's the last thing I would want to do because I don't want to be in the spotlight.
I know Fitz got something to say for this.
What's up?
Nah, I ain't gonna get too far in the weeds on that, but I love the approach that like, hey, you want to handle it? Let's do it in private. I love that. I also love the approach that if you address me in public on some BS, I'm gonna address you back in public. Like
with the same energy.
The same. No, not yeah.
But what does that solve though?
No, it's at the moment. So if you come at me sideways or come at any one of my airmen,
okay.
It most all happens to my airmen. People for some reason don't really come at me like that, but most people come at like my airmen sideways. And if you're doing that in front of me, and I know they not in the wrong, like even if they in the wrong, you should have brought that to me so I can address them. Okay. But you're not gonna do that to my airmen and think I'm not gonna say nothing to you. I don't care. You can be in the chain of command, cool. However, I got a job to do. If I'm that person's supervisor, and like let me handle that. Okay. I got you.
But what type of image does that show though? Does he? Where's the maturity in that?
It's maturity in it in the sense that I'm not willing to let somebody mess over my guys because they're smaller. Because a lot of times, especially in maintenance, it happens just because somebody is under ranking. Yep. Like so people take advantage of people because they don't have the same rank or stature as them. So that's where the defense mechanism comes in. Because hey, I'm gonna protect my guy. However, if my guy is wrong, I have no issue or gripes with somebody saying something to them, as long as they're not like belittling them. Okay. I'm totally fine with it.
I think my problem with what you had said, well, it wasn't even a problem with what you had said, it was just something that clicked in my head, was the fact that like, you'll bring them to the side. I've made multiple mistakes being staff, just like addressing everybody in front of people. And that was probably like one of my biggest downfalls as being an NCO, because you should bring them to the side and talk to them personally and professionally. Other than that,
I think it's all circumstantial.
Yeah,
it has to be circumstantial.
It definitely is, because there's some people that you're gonna want to bring to the side, just simply because of that relationship that you have with that person.
Mm.
And there's other folks, or even if you have a relationship with a person, but you keep seeing them do the same thing over, and you done talked to them already,
Yeah.
I'm going to bring it to the forefront so that everybody knows that this is not how it's supposed to happen.
I can take that back to me being a senior airman. We had literally just got briefed in roll call to slow down, use the technical orders, TOs, don't rush, no matter what you're trying to do or whatever. I'm a senior airman at the time, bunch of A1Cs and airmen underneath me. Some staff comes up and he's like, I want the power on the plane turned off so we can go to lunch. Okay, cool. So we already put tools away. One of the newer guys, he was opening up the DTOS. It was loading. He walked away for literally not even 30 seconds and turned back around in the middle of his walk, came back like, why y'all not moving to turn off power? And he like started yelling at the guys. I'm only a senior airman at the time. And the way he was belittling the guy, I felt like it had to be addressed in public. So he know not to do that to none of the other guys and know that like what he was doing was wrong. So in maintenance, you have to step up. It's called like a timeout card or something like that. Like when you don't feel like you come to.
Still got it, but it's not.
It's not used as it's not used as often. But I told him, I said, hey man, like we just got briefed about this. Like leave him alone. You flustering this kid. The kid was sitting there like shaking once the staff sergeant started saying something. He's fresh out of tech school. He don't know no better. So I felt like the need to defend that kid. So in certain situations, certain circumstances, you gotta get out of character or be more aggressive than you would like to be. But I'm not saying every situation deserves that encounter.
Yeah.
So everything is circumstantial.
I had a situation I've got myself when this whole COVID thing popped off. Some situations have to be handled in front of people because there's no time to pull anybody to the side. You can't be the person that's directing, bringing down guidance for something and then want me to make a little shortcut so that you can get done what you need to get done. Nah, it's right here, written in the books. I done taught these classes. This is the way it's gonna go. Well, I need this. I don't care what you need. You put this in here, so that's what we're gonna follow. And it's that simple. And everybody else stopped, and we did everything the way it was supposed to be handled. So if the situation calls for it, I have no problem with calling somebody out in front of everybody. Or if you see me messing up, call me out. Let me know. It don't matter to me.
I think the only way to stop bad behavior or something that you don't like is to address it. So
Yeah, but I think it's how you address it though. You know, that's for me. That's me again. That fits along lines up with what my personality is. I don't like spotlight. Period. Point blank. I don't like. I don't even like. Cameras, the pictures, photos. But again, if I got to do it, I got to do it. But I will address it. If it's something on the spot, I will address it. But it's a certain way to do it, and I'll try to figure out that way to address it and get the point across. And leave open for dialogue. But again, if I don't have to, I'm not gonna do it in front of a bunch of people, because I just think that it's a way you can do it, and that's where that tact kicks in. You find a professional way to do it. But hey, if you got to go behind the building and you got. You do your two-step, At the end of it, you come back and you're around everybody else, especially like say if you're talking about leadership around peers or whatnot. Hey, if that's what it takes, that wall to wall around the corner, but come back, man, it's a united front, again, and I get what y'all saying about taking care of your airmen, and that's what a real leader does. It looks out for the airmen, also build their airmen and push their airmen up. But again, you also keep in mind, hey, the image. What is the image I'm putting out? What is the image? At the end of the day, because I don't want them to think I'm a hothead. You know what I'm saying? You already, based off of certain things, you automatically, that's going to be, when you talk about people having stereotypes, again, the stereotype is black and brown. Men, angry black men. Hey, we hotheads. No, I'm not gonna be your stereotype. I'm gonna be everything but your stereotype, and I'm gonna show you I know how to respond. Do I want to act like that? Do I want to cut up and beat the? Excuse me. Do I want to cut up and respond in not the right way? Yeah, but I know professional. I got mouths to feed. I am an example for someone. Someone's always looking, So those things I keep in mind.
Cool, calm, and
stay
collect.
cool, calm, and collect. Because I can address this same issue in a better way instead of it's gonna cause repercussion. It's a what do y'all call it? Like a trickle down effect, second and third effect, whatever. Yeah. So I gotta keep that in mind when I do respond. So yeah.
So I got a question for you.
Go
so
for
you
it.
said, the stereotypes, trying to avoid those stereotypes. Doesn't that not leave room for black men to show their emotions or to embrace their emotions? Because we have this oh, they're angry black men, but we get angry too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
Just
saying?
as
So
anybody
we-
does.
As anybody else,
Any
right.
culture.
And we express our emotions without being.
I mean, my team.
Figure out how to express your emotions without being in that threatening. That's one of the things, man. If we don't we don't live in a world that's fair, right? If it was fair, we wouldn't have a lot of this stuff going on. So you know your left and right limits and how these things going on. Till you figure out how to navigate without negative repercussion, you got to play according to the left and right limits. And left and right limits, I gotta think. For me, for Paxton, I gotta think before I respond. I got a lot riding on my reactions and the things that I do.
No, I mean I understand where you're coming from. I'm just the type of person who I'm gonna be me regardless, right?
It's
So
difference in
it-
personalities.
Definitely a difference in personality,
Yeah.
difference in career fields too. So like, where we come from in our career fields, where I come from, like coming up in the world, like I don't want to say designed, but for lack of a better term, I was designed to respond to things a certain way. Like for my safety, my protection, my safe haven, upbringing, things like that, like I had to be a certain way. So I think that's a good thing about the Air Force. You come in here and it's about diversity. Like everybody is the way they are because of the way they came up for the most part. So you bringing that to the fight. So me being how I've been, like I've been in a bunch of altercations since I've been in the Air Force, and I'm not promoting that by no means. However, I'm always myself, and it hasn't slowed me down at all. So I'm not gonna stop being who I am. I'm not gonna stop addressing confrontation. I'm not gonna stop having these tough conversations. If we gotta raise our voice behind closed doors, let us raise our voice behind closed doors. If we gotta yell at each other in front of other people to let people see like that there's more to life than whatever is happening in that situation, let it be that, and let us, at the end of it, explain to these airmen why that happened. Like they gotta understand that everything's not gonna be peaches and cream all the time. Like I think that's the thing. We run from the tough stuff. We run from the tough conversations. We run from the altercations, and we end up making a softer generation, and everybody's scared of confrontation. Like well, you can't get past certain issues because you're afraid of it. Because you want to be tactful, you want to be politically correct, or you want to not be judged or feel like somebody's talking smack about you behind your back. Like, hey, people gonna talk about you regardless. People gonna talk about you regardless. So people will put your name in some stuff that your name ain't even in. And I'm speaking from experience. I'm trying to tell you.
Preach.
But you gotta, my opinion, you gotta man, gotta figure out how to address that. That's what we got there for. Think. I get it, that passion come from here, and I get it. You know, you're gonna be yourself. People are gonna be themselves regardless. But again, when we started off talking about personality, my personality is I'm not gonna bring undue attention to myself. You get what I'm saying? Now I'm not gonna stand for BS. I'm gonna address it, but I'm gonna figure out a way how to address it that's aligned with my values and aligned with my personality. Yeah. I'm gonna address those things. And again, I can tell you hands down right now. It's only a few situations where I'm finna handle it on the spot, and that ain't gonna be good. And that's the safety of my family and my kids, you know. But other than that, I'm gonna address it. I'm gonna address it in a tactful way.
So let me ask you this, right? So tough conversations, cool. That's one thing. How do you feel about somebody touching you, putting their hands on you?
Got an issue with that?
Is that a way to we?
No, that ain't a way. That ain't
now?
a way.
Ain't no time like
that ain't a way. Cause that what's that protective mechanism kick in. I gotta protect myself. I gotta protect myself. Now at that point, now I understand. Once that's done, I understand some repercussions might come from that. You know, cause technically they put their hands on you. That's assault. But then you got the same. Yeah, it should be self-defense. But in certain situations, we both committed assault.
And when
You
I
get
get
what
done
I'm
with you,
saying?
it's gonna look
It
like
just depends on how far you go. Like you're not like he hit me, so I hit him back. He hit me, so I crushed this dude.
yes, you're absolutely right.
Here's the thing. It's difficult. It'd be difficult to
Hey.
control yourself at that point because you feel violated. They shouldn't have put their hands on you. You didn't do it.
But I
You
mean,
didn't
they
touch
gonna
them
learn.
first.
They ain't
They
gonna
gonna
do it
learn.
again.
But what's the repercussion of that? You get what I'm saying? Are you really wanting to go through that? You know, in hindsight, would you, if you could have handled it a different way, would you handle it different? Like say for instance, if right now, Fitz, you hit me, right? Just out now, there's a response that will happen. But at the end of the day, I'm gonna be like, dang, was it really worth it, man? Could I handle it a different way? Cause after this, when that happens, then hey, get fired. I'm the breadwinner of my household. All these different things. You know what I'm saying?
Camera. You might be straight right now.
But at the same time, you know, just saying those are some things that unfortunately, that's what. Well, unfortunately, that's what we have to consider. But for me, that's what I try to think of all the time. I try to think of, hey, what's the next couple of moves?
You try to think of your family
first. I'm big on that because I know what I am to my household. I know what I am to to my kids and to my family. So I gotta make my decisions really wise, even if it's some tough ones. Now, am I gonna let they get away with that? Now you might get that punt, but guess what? I'm finna do some type of paperwork, something. I can't let it ride, even with incidents where like I felt like I was wrongly done with with law enforcement XYZ. Hey, I can't respond, not right now, but I'm gonna handle that in a different way. And even though it takes 3-4 weeks, months, or whatever to get it done, but I'm gonna fill that paperwork out and I'm gonna see it all the way through because I was done wrong and I didn't do anything to
Is that something you want to talk about?
Negative.
No, Roger that.
All
You
right.
let that go.
I know as far as I go, like, you gonna get me regardless of what the situation is. And I know with me, it take me a while to get to that point where I want to choke you out. So if you get me to that point, all said and done, I don't care no more. I'm not worried. The last thing in my mind is losing my job. I don't care because you got to do a lot of paperwork to get me fired. So it is what it is.
Yeah, so like I kind of see it similar to you, right? I try not to just react with like my fists.
Yeah.
I try not to. But I can. You've seen some of the conversations I had in the office with certain people, things like that, things that really rub a lot of people the wrong way, and I can have those conversations and be totally fine.
Oh yeah.
What I don't like is for somebody to touch me. Like I don't care if you poke me, I don't care if you brush against me. Just don't touch me, and I'll tell you like, hey, bro, like you cool, say what you want to say, just don't touch me.
True.
And you touch me again, whatever come after that is what you deserve. Because I told you don't touch me. If I smack you, you getting smacked. If I punch you, you getting punched. If I slam you, you getting slammed. Don't touch me. I asked you that already, and hey, I said it.
The one thing I can't handle is people putting their hands in my face.
I hate that too.
Like that's a huge form of disrespect to me. I grew up all over the East Coast, family in the military, North Carolina, Florida, all these places. But when I lived in North Carolina, we lived in the backwoods. My grandparents, like. That's a huge form of disrespect. That slapping somebody in the face or spitting on them. Those three things I can't do it. And I've had somebody talking to me, mind you, we're in a uniform, close proximity, and they're yelling because a mistake was made and spit, and it's obvious, landed on my face from this person's mouth. I almost lost it. And I had to step away from the situation while he was in mid-talk because if I didn't, then I'd have probably been in trouble.
You were better than me. Like, spit. Was it like a sprinkle spit?
No, it was a nice little glob.
Nah, man.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It wasn't like it was obvious he didn't do it on purpose, but still at the same time for me that's a big form of disrespect. Yeah. So that right there was like, for me, I was just like, I had to step away, and then I approached it later, but I still had hostility. So I came.
What was his reaction to that when you're like, hey, you spit on me?
Oh, he was automatically apologetic.
Okay.
Like,
I mean, I understand.
Okay. But my thing is,
like, well, who's arguing? It just slipped out.
but I felt like he saw it. Like that, and that for me, like
well,
you can't miss a glob of spit landing on somebody's face from your own mouth. That killed me. So that I was just like, he apologized, and then like we still had tension. Obviously, we still had tension, but from that situation on, like I learned that I do sometimes need to step back. Because like I said, I was raised everywhere along the East Coast, mostly like North Carolina and Florida. So for me, respect is a big thing. And for somebody to disrespect me, I need to be able to handle it in a better aspect, because when I was in high school, it was hard for me to control my anger. So for me, that's one of the reasons why I stay to myself. If that makes sense. It's one of the reasons why I'm an introvert on that part, because I know that if I do get out of hand, because I take things personally, everything, and it becomes a problem. So I try not to make it a problem for myself or for others. So whenever I am upset, I usually tend to withdraw. Like I distance myself until I can be calm, cool, and collected and try to bring it to a respectable standpoint. Other than that, like I've had situations where I've had to address something in front of people. I've had situations to where I've had to address it one-on-one or behind closed doors. The behind closed doors is probably best for me because I want to be able to say what I want to say and not have any type of repercussions held over me. I have to be able to express myself. If I can't express myself, then how am I supposed to be my own person?
What happens when you're in a situation where you want to express yourself and you can't? Like, let's say somebody address you in public, in a public forum, and you have something to say after listening to what they got to say, and you can't. How does that make you feel?
Oh, disrespected. Oh, 100%. But I'm going to find a way to have that one-on-one with them. Whether it's with another person in the room or whether it's me and them, hey, I gotta talk to you. I'm gonna make that known. How you go about
selecting that third party to be in that room?
You have to find a neutral party, somebody that doesn't know about the situation. Those are the easiest people because they're not gonna choose sides. They're not gonna pick. They're not gonna see rank. They're just gonna be like, okay, what happened? And then they pick justice on that side at that point. Like, but they have to be even. They got to be equal. They got to let each other talk. You can't be cutting people off. Like I was in a situation where I had to talk. Well, someone was talking. I let them talk, and then as soon as it came down for me to put my 2 cents in, mind you, raised my hand and everything. They selected me, and I started speaking, and they cut me off. I told them like, as soon as this person cut me off, I'm like, yo, chill. And then I stepped back, and then I approached her later on that night. And I was like, look, that's disrespectful. I let you talk. You cut me off in the middle of my sentence. You even chose me. Like, I raised my hand, you picked on me. How are you gonna cut somebody off? And at that point, they apologized. And it was still obviously a tension between us, but it was at least I addressed it. And I felt better about myself, the fact that I addressed it compared to not saying anything and for it building up and then me exploding on my team or something like that, you know, because, yeah.
All right, we're back. We're going to get into Sergeant Bakes and Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force Bass. Yes, we are. You see? So, I don't want her coming for me. My phone does not need that ring from that high up. I'm good. But how do you feel like they should have handled that social media thing? Do you feel like she should have responded at all?
I do. I feel like what she did was legit. So like we talked about earlier, he made it to where it was in the open forum. She addressed it in the open forum. Not saying she didn't go over the top. So hey, call me Monday. Today is Monday. They had that conversation. She readdressed it publicly again. So you know what I don't like is when people will make a statement publicly, get addressed, and then they'll apologize in private. She didn't do that. She made her statement. He made his statement. She made hers, and then she came back in public again. We had our conversation. It's over. We working to get better. I don't see nothing wrong with it. I don't know if I'm always taken the wrong way. When I say, hey, if I see it in public, I'm addressing it in public. It don't mean you got to end in a fist fight. Like, it is what it is.
For me personally, I don't feel like she should have gave the troll the limelight.
So on the official Air Force websites, if that's all you see is a bunch of trolling, you tend to pay more attention to the trolling than anything. I think her addressing it set a precedence that to the other trolls. You can't do what he doing because you're going to have to see about me.
It could also set a different precedence because we living in a different day and time where people want to be recognized. And if he got recognized off of that negativity, somebody else might want to be recognized the same way.
But you don't think she chose him selectively? Like, I don't think she chose somebody who wasn't in the Air Force when she addressed them. She chose somebody who was in the Air Force, which means she can handle that situation where, hey, your social media need to be shut down. Stop it. I'm telling you to cut that out.
And there could be somebody, like he was in the Air Force and he wanted that attention. He
did want that attention, then he got that attention. and then they handle that situation. It's over. Do you think he gonna come back saying the same type of stuff, or not saying, but doing
somebody
the same
else can.
Somebody
If
else
they
can
want
do it.
that same attention, they'd be like, all right, cool. She addressed Staff Sergeant Banks, then made a post saying that Staff Sergeant Banks is still Staff Sergeant Banks. I can get my name out there the same way. They might feel that same way and continue to carry on.
But do you
That's
see
a
that
big
as
what if,
being
though.
a positive or negative for Sergeant Banks? It's not a positive, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think nobody.
It depends. You got to think. The mentality of the people that are doing this is not the same mentality that we have. We don't be out there posting like that. I'm not about to go troll the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force. But there are people clearly that think that way. Because he wasn't alone
But
when he
you
was
think
doing
he was
it.
prepared or thinking she was gonna respond to him? Do you think he was ready? Like, do you think his name is gonna be dropped by the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force? You think he was looking at his post for that to happen?
I'm not talking about him thinking, but I'm talking about the mentality after
No, man.
this.
I'm asking you a question. Do you think that's what he was? You think he made that post?
He knew
to get that
somebody was
response?
going to see it. He probably didn't think it was going to go up that high.
Yeah.
But he knew somebody was going
But
to see it.
because it did, that's what I'm saying. Because he did it in public, she addressed it in public, and I think she set a precedence for anybody else who's in the Air Force that's gonna follow suit. Like it's gonna be seen. It can be addressed. It can be brought up. Like we only seen her saying, "Oh, we handled it."
Mm-hmm.
What is everything else in the chain of command that led up to him having that phone call? He probably got the ass chewings of his lifetime. Like,
I still believe that addressing that on social media is going to invite more people to be addressed on social media.
only time to tell. Only time to tell.
Yeah.
I don't see it that way, but
I don't see the whole
I'm not a
social
social
media
media guy.
aspect. Yeah,
Like-
I don't see the whole social media aspect though. Like me personally, I'm just not like I'm not social media savvy per se. I mean, I'm on there sometimes, but like to troll the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, it's
You got to
excessive.
think about it. People done got famous off of just straight trolling. Look at Duke, he who must not be named, the rainbow-haired boy. He made a whole career out of trolling.
yeah, I mean, it is what it is. We're in a different circumstance though. Like people who are in the Air Force have obligations. They have certain criteria. They have certain guidelines that they have to live by. I.e., her addressing it sets that precedent. That, oh yeah, this does exist. I do have to follow these guidelines. So that's what I'm saying. It was like a refresher or a reset button for those individuals who like to troll or those individuals who like to bring up names that they shouldn't bring up. So,
I'm
I
t-
mean,
I'm-
that's just the way I see it. We
I
can
feel
agree,
you, and
disagree.
I'm fine with you on
Yeah,
that. We're
yeah.
going to agree to disagree on it. I'm just telling you right now. Them folks don't care.
Does that make her like unrelatable? Does that like give people pause to where they wanna, you know what I'm saying?
No.
Because if she kind of like attacked him back or whatever, you know what I'm saying? How does that make Airman look at her? How does she
And I don't even think,
trade now?
I wouldn't say that she attacked him back. She just had a response. Hey, we had this conversation. She basically just said, I am a Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force of my word. I said I was going to contact this person. I contacted this person. So for me, I wouldn't have addressed the person at all because I don't care about them. But she has a bigger window of what she's working with. If she don't want that, and she the Chief Master Sergeant of the Air Force, then she shut it down the way that she wanted to shut it down. I just hope that people learn from this. Like I'm hoping that they will follow what you're saying. But I know people are stupid. So they might be looking for that attention in a negative way.
I mean, only time to tell, like I said before, but even in her post, she said, you and your friends have been trolling Air Force sites with the nest.
Yep.
Do you think that stuff is still continuing from him and his friends with the nest?
Might not
from
be.
those individuals that are legitimately his friends doing the same thing. I don't think.
Yeah, it might
I
not.
think she nipped the problem that she was trying to address in the bud. If she got to address somebody else later, that's a different story for a different time. But right now, I think she did what she had to do. It's kind of like my kids. If I see my kids, or if I'm out in public and my kids make a scene or they disrespecting me, I'm gonna address them right then and there. Not saying he's her kid, because you know how people get sensitive, but you address that right there. Like, who you talking to? And that's kind of what happened. Like, who you talking to? We're gonna address this. I don't see nothing wrong with it.
I'm just saying, it's opening the door for more stuff on that.
I don't personally know that whole situation. That's why I kind of sat back and was listening. I was trying to peep game because I don't really know the whole situation. I just got brought up on it a little bit ago. But I feel like she from what I understood from the situation, I feel like she handled it the right way. She made it known that she was gonna contact Buddy. She contacted him. They had their talk. I don't know what happened in between, with his higher ups and so on and so forth. But I'm pretty sure he's not gonna be doing any of that anymore, especially on social media, unless it's to, I guess, friends or whatever. But I mean, that's excessive. Me personally, I'm not really on social media too much, so I won't really know until one of y'all tell me. But you know,
I'm not really on social media either. Like I deal with it. Like I post things, whatever. But it's tough for me myself to like not like want to go at people with Twitter fingers. Like I'm not really like a fan of like the talk. It's like, hey man, like, cut that out. Like, that's just my personality. Like I'm not sure how I'm supposed to handle stuff like that. You know?
Let them Facebook bullies stay Facebook bullies. Because when you see them in real life, they not about that life. It don't really matter. The conversation obviously went well.
In her favor.
In her favor.
You're right.
Because if he was really about that life,
yeah,
that post wouldn't have been the post that it was, and he would have had a rebuttal video out already.
He said video. I hear you. All right, so how do y'all move amongst y'all like personal lives, like separating the Air Force? I know we still have have guidelines that we have to meet or a certain persona that we have to portray. Like, how do you encompass that persona that the Air Force wants you to portray while also embracing your culture or your own personality?
For me, I'm just respectable. I'm like respectable for the most part, but I'm still myself. At the end of the day, I'm still always gonna be myself. So I'm gonna do the things I want to do. If I want to have fun, I'm gonna have fun. If I want to go out and chill with some friends, I'll do that. Now, you know, when it comes to other things, like I was out in Guam, and a lot of people were out and they were doing other stuff that I mean, it's none of my business. But, you know, they decided they want to go on and have fun. So I decided I can't do it. Like I'm good. Like, that's where my career comes into question, and that's even in a public aspect. You know what I'm saying? Because we're out. I'm not in uniform. You know, so I'm out and about and having fun. But
I know for me personally, like I'm me 24/7, whether I got the uniform on or not. I don't really change too much. I'm gonna have fun at work. I'm gonna have fun with my troops. I'm gonna try to have fun with the higher ups if they about that life. When you got cool leadership, you can do that. And I'm gonna be the same way outside of my uniform. Like, I kick it with my friends. I talk to y'all. I know there's a certain decorum I gotta have when I throw the uniform back on. And I know when I have it off, I'm still representing that regardless. Because at the end of the day, that's the contract I signed. And I gotta rock out with that. So I don't really change too much in and out of uniform. I'm gonna be the same happy-go-lucky person, but you know, if I'm pissed off, you're gonna see that regardless of whether I got the uniform on or not. And if you come out the side of your neck, you gonna know that I peeped you. I saw that, and we gonna handle it either this way or that way. You gonna choose.
It sounds like you bring the culture with you. I think that's the good thing about diversity, man. It is what it is. Like I ain't saying everybody who's black has the meaning that I have, but you know, I respect where you're coming from. How you feeling, EP?
No, I gotta.
He about to clean it up. He about to follow the
No, I do have a comment. What is the culture? But how I am away from work and at work, I want to say I'm still even. I'm even killed with it. Like certain things I just never really just took part in. Like I just didn't. It just wasn't about. You know, it's not something that I took part in. But I've always been. I wasn't big on partying. I wasn't big on hanging out, all that. If I did hang out, I was with nothing but with family, bloodline. That's it. And even with that, I kept that to a minimum because my thing is that not everybody's gonna think exactly like I think. Not everybody gonna. So I gotta be. I gotta be on my P's and Q's. But I'm like that even, while I'm at work or when I'm away. My thing is, my big interest is I like family. Once I start having a family, my big thing, if I ain't at work, if I'm not making money, I'm family time. Being with my kids, doing something silly, rolling on the ground, something like, anything like that. Or doing house stuff that got to be done in the house. So that's where I spend my time. That's where I get my downtime and I blow off my steam. So I don't know if that's the culture, whatever that is, but that's just me being, in my opinion, that's me, making some wise decisions, being mature.
Yeah.
You know, handling business, take care of household. You know, that's my thing.
Yeah, I think that's
Yeah,
encompassed in all of us and what we do.
I think it
Like,
comes with
yeah.
time though, as you mature too. I think for most
You
most
saying that a
part.
lot. Get that
What?
what you getting that EP?
No, what?
what you getting
But let's
at,
back
EP?
up.
Get that what
Let's back up. I didn't. I went into the whole going out thing even when I was a lot younger. But once I transitioned to like household stuff and family stuff. Once I end up being blessed with kids and a family and stuff. So then when I would, you know, go out and catch a movie or something, now I'm catching a movie with them. You get what I'm saying? While you would do roll solo and just ride around. Now I'm with them. Yeah, I just changed my focus, but I still didn't like being, you know, out in public. I still didn't like going to parties and clubs and all that. That still wasn't. I just had my mindset was like, man, I can't be around these because they ain't gonna think. These jokers ain't gonna think, and anything can go wrong or be there. I'm not gonna think. I might take that little bump as something as disrespect and not thinking it. So I just remove myself out of them situations. But
I respect that. There's nothing wrong with nothing you said. I'm just giving you a hard time.
No, you cool, brother.
The whole father aspect of it, man, if you are a father, be a father to your kids, man, be an inspiration, be a motivation, do what's right by your kids. I'm not gonna ever tell no man nothing different, ever. And I feel the same way. So like, even when I'm out and I'm going out to these clubs or I'm like having a good time with my folks, like I call myself a social introvert. I'm a quiet dude. Like by nature, I'm naturally quiet. I'm naturally, like I said before, I'm observant. I sit back and I just watch a bunch of stuff. And then I react to it how I react to it. But like I don't feel like I need to shelter myself or monitor myself or pull back from who I am, whether I'm in or out of uniform. So like I said, if I'm gonna react to you outside at a club, I'm gonna do the same thing while we in uniform. I'm not saying I'm gonna just punch you in your face, because that's not who I am. But just don't touch me, and then you won't get punched in the face. Outside of that, we can have a normal conversation in uniform that we can have outside of uniform, as long as you don't touch me. If I'm wearing my boots, I'm punching you in the face. If I'm not wearing my boots, I'm punching you in the face if you touch me. Outside of that, like I don't care. Conversations are conversations. Like, I don't see nothing wrong with that. And I have kids too, and I love my kids, and I would do anything for my kids. They are well taken care of, whether I have the Air Force or I don't. So I don't fear being kicked out of the Air Force. I don't fear being arrested for a time or two, because my kids will still be taken care of. And that's totally fine by me. I will react the way I react, and I will deal with those consequences. I tell my kids that. I tell them, never make a decision that you're not willing to accept the consequences for. So whether that be lying, that would be stealing, no matter what you're gonna do it, be the best at it, and go from there. But don't make a decision if you're not willing to live with those consequences. And I'm always willing to live with the consequences.
What's when you made it coming about something that coming about the culture, represent the culture.
Yeah. That's
probably, what does that mean?
My culture, where I'm from, it's always standing 10 toes down, like not being afraid of something coming at you. That's my culture. My culture is like, hey, I like listening to a certain type of music. Sometimes I like to play my music loud. That's part of my culture. I like to dance when I want to dance. I'm not really much of a dancer, but when I want to do it, I'm going to do it. Hey, I got plenty of other friends that'll bust a move right here, right now for no reason. That's part of the culture. Part of the culture is the way we talk, the way we move, the way we express ourselves through dress. Like, it's different things. The culture is a wide variety of things. And I don't think I need to shelter that to be in the Air Force.
I feel like you should be able to express that, if anything, the most being in the Air Force, because it's supposed to be such a big melting pot. You know, you should be able to express yourself without repercussions of, I mean, obviously don't do anything stupid, but you should still be able to be yourself. Definitely. You know, at the end of the day.
Be able to be you. That's why when I go into work and I don't have work, I gotta go check my email. I'm wearing what you would see me in if I'm just chilling around the crib. I know I ain't have hair no more, but I used to rock a do-rag when I went in, check my email. They'd be like, that way, you see me at the commissary, see me somewhere else, this is how I'm gonna be dressed. This is what I'm gonna be doing. There is no shock. This is me. You gonna see that person Monday through Friday in this uniform, but when I'm out, this is who I am. Our culture is a whole bunch of stuff. It's more than just the gold chains, the gold teeth, whatever you got going on. It's everything. It's the way that we carry ourselves. So I want to represent that all the time. And I'm not going to stop being me for the sake of nobody, no job, no nothing.
So I was gonna ask him to ask y'all something. So how do you see when you look at me? What do you see?
When I look at you,
Yeah, when you look at me, what do you see? Honestly, honest opinion.
I ain't gonna tell you nothing else. The honest truth. I see an older dude. You super mature, low key, laid back. I'm not saying you against the culture. I never felt that way. I do know that we have different viewpoints on a lot of things, for sure. I feel like your reality of the culture is different from my reality of my culture, even though we're both two black men.
Okay. I don't understand how, but I hear you.
No,
I hear what you're saying.
Okay,
though.
so you remember we were standing outside the football field, and
Right.
you came up, you asked us that
Right,
question.
right, that's
I don't
correct.
feel like anybody who was raised the way I was raised or came up the way I came up will ask that question. Hence why I sent you that video.
No, tracking, and like I said, some of this stuff it confirmed what I was thinking, and some of the stuff it taught me.
So
But-
let's let the people know what we're
Yeah,
talking
yes,
about,
please.
because it's kind of vague. So EP came up to pretty much everybody who be out there playing football, right? And this is when we were deep. And he was like, "Hey, why y'all use the N-word so much?" Totally respect it. No hard feelings, whatever. And I told him, like, that's part of the culture. That's part of my upbringing. I use it so much that it kills what it means from the outside looking in. Also, the video I showed you, the actual term didn't come from those people. It didn't come from racist white people. It came because literally there's a people in Ethiopia called niggas. 1G. Those are kings. Those are queens. That's why a lot of black people, king, queen, people lost the meaning of what that word actually meant. Don't even know where it came from. So they used the 2Gs to try to degrade us. I'm not gonna ever stop using that word. I'm not. I'm gonna be honest with you. I won't.
Yeah, and I had never heard that before. That's why I said I learned that. I also, with the information you shared with me, I confirmed some things that I thought in regards to unity, being united. I thought I have a strong opinion about that. Don't know. I mean, but I have a strong opinion about if being on one accord, we make an impact. But you got to get on the one accord. You got to be on the same page, and that's actually what we discussed. If we all get together, get on the same page, we'll make a statement, we'll make a change. Make the world
Did you
stop
notice
for
when
it.
you asked that question though? Like y'all know I'm always the first one. Oh, I answer that damn question. I don't care.
Right.
I answered the question, and everybody who was standing there, it was like a solid what, maybe
5, 6, something like that.
Yeah,
There were
something.
6 of us.
Yeah, it was a decent amount. You was out there,
That's
right?
right, yeah.
Yeah, and like everybody was on the same stuff. Like I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna stop. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
stop. But it's a reason for it, and it's the reason why we feel like we gotta be ourselves. Like we don't want to feel like we gotta sweep ourselves, our personalities, our culture under the rug. Like I'm not gonna belittle the people or my upbringing or where I came from or nothing like that. Like it's no way I feel like as a man that I can do that and still raise my son to be a strong black man. I gotta stand 10 toes down, like I said before, and I gotta raise him to do the same thing. Like we are who we are, and I'm not telling you to be an ignorant dude. I want you to be educated. I'm talking to my son right now. I want my son to be educated. You know where this word comes from. You know when you're using it, you're not using it in the sense that they trying to say, oh, y'all say it, why can't I say it? It's like, it's different. It's different. So that's just me.
I use that word because I take ownership back of it, like you were saying before. I have 3 sons, 3 of them. 2 of them black as night,
Hey,
just like me.
hey, I love my chocolate women too.
Hey,
hey,
it
shout
is what
them
it
out real
is.
quick.
There ain't no mistaking. They black. That's what it is. And I know that I'm going to teach my sons everything. And to answer your question about you, what I see when I look at you is my example to never stop wanting to learn. Because every time I talk to you, you have a question for me that either I can answer, Fitz can answer, and then we got questions for you. The learning never stops. You successful, you got the office. I love your office, by the way. It's great. You can't find it if you're looking for it. Unless you tell somebody where your office is, they're not finding it. It's great. Ducked away. That's where I want to be. But like I see you and I'm like, all right, cool. EP, he got his stuff together, but he still want to learn. He not one of those folks that get up somewhere to a certain point and they like, I know everything. And I respect that from you. Because you still open to hear from other folks. And I think that's why you're here today. Because you got stuff to share and you also wanted to learn at the same time.
You can't judge a book by its cover. You are correct, man. I do want to learn. You know what I'm saying? I'm big on helping helping people, but definitely helping my own. I'm big on that, brother. I am so. I'm big on that, man. I want to help. And that's the thing. And especially, I'm big on unity. So, yeah. And just because you look a certain way don't necessarily mean you don't know about certain things. So, yeah. You just choose. I make it's some choices I make. I make choices to not do certain things. And again, speaking as far as being a father, man. Hey, it's certain things that I don't want my kids to have to experience. But they will have knowledge. They will get understanding, and they will know how to be themselves, but govern their self accordingly. You're according to your situation. You ain't got to be the spotlight. You ain't got to be the life of the party all the time. It's okay to be in the high scene. You just pay attention, you observe, and then you know how to move. And that's it. So I don't know, man. I don't know how to go, where to go from there.
And I think I like what you just said. Like,
I don't see nothing wrong with what you just said.
we're teaching your kids how to govern themselves. I can tie that back into the Air Force too, because like all three of my kids got a different personality. Like, it's wild. It's just like our troops. They all got different personalities. You know which ones want to shine. You know which ones want to be laid back. You know who's going to be able to defend themselves without your help, and you know who's going to need that extra help from you and who's going to need that extra knowledge of what you got to give them. So I love what you just said right there. It just popped into my head. But yeah,
a good leader, you know how to you pay attention to that.
Yep.
Man. You pay attention to that. Yeah. So.
And I just want to say I respect all three of y'all. I don't have kids. I want to eventually in life, but to see three men actually taking responsibility, doing the things they need to do. I was one of those type of people that were pretty much, my father was there, but he wasn't there, if that makes sense. So he was in the same city, but he was never a father figure for me. And for me to see three gentlemen actually taking responsibility and taking care of their kids, I gotta say I look up to y'all, man. That's good.
Take your time.
I'm not.
definitely take your time when it comes to
Take your time, because it's a whole different thought process, man.
Got the right one.
whole life got to change.
But it is a goal.
Yeah, buddy.
You know,
It's a
is
different
goal.
process, but yeah, man. Yeah, and that's one thing I'm grateful, man. I know we might be getting out talk, but man, I'm so grateful to be a dad. It was scary as hell at first. Man, it was
Felt like you
scary as
wasn't
hell.
ready.
Man, I felt like I knew I wasn't ready, man. But man, he prepared me, man. God prepared me, man. And
Did that change it? Did he change your kids? This is to all y'all. So when y'all finally had y'all kids, did that change like y'all mindset, your attitude?
Okay, so what changed me was the thought process people had for my kid. So like somebody told me, and I play like sports my whole life, right? And my scholarship opportunities were gone, whatever. But somebody said, man, your son gonna be a beast. And I'm thinking they talking about like sports. It wasn't until I sat down and had like an actual conversation. They were talking about like how aggressive I was, how my attitude was, or like my pinpoint reaction to like, oh, I fixed it. You got an issue? Let's fix it. Like that mentality is what I wanted to change and what actually made me join the Air Force. So because they said that, I said I had to consciously set a better example for my son so he don't grow up to be a statistic or be, like, I'm getting emotional, like to be another like brother in the street on some bullshit. Like that's just on some real stuff, man. So I'm like, all right, let me change my mentality. Let me change my circumstances. Let me do something better with my life to show that like I'm more than just me putting my hands on somebody or me fixing the situation with somebody else. Like,
adding on to that, it made me again tying what we talked about earlier. It made me start thinking. Made me start thinking long term. I used to want to think long term. I would just think for right now, for the moment. You know what I mean? Certain things I didn't partake in and whatnot, but I really start thinking at that point, like retirement. I'm thinking about retirement now. I'm thinking about life insurance. Those type things made me, again, because I came as I'm getting older and because I have kids, it's making me think about that instead of right now, hey, go buy this or go buy that or have the freshest this, that. No, negative. They gotta eat. I gotta make sure 5-10 years after I'm gone, they have something, to live off of, So heck yeah, it made me change.
so how you set them up for like success? How old are your kids?
Ooh, my oldest son is 17. He's 17. My baby girl's 14. Just turned 14 in September, and my baby boy's 10. Yeah.
So do you believe in making your kids make those tough decisions?
Yes.
Like-
as they get older. As they get older. Matter of fact, I believe in as they get older, it's no more putting hands on you. We have a
Oh, for sure,
discussion.
for sure,
we
for sure.
we conversate. But
Yeah.
yeah, make them make tough decisions. And I believe in talking to them, talking them through them. Our kids are so intelligent.
They
All
are.
our kids
They
are so
are.
intelligent and early on. So I believe in that. And again, hey, and we're gonna talk this thing out. Okay, you did what? Okay, were there any other choices? How could you handle this different? You know, X, Y, Z. Yeah, making them make.
So from an early age for me and my kids, like I never set a limitation. Like when people be like, oh, he's only 2.
And
What the hell that got to do with anything? Like all my kids were reading at like a grade school level before they started school. I always expect, and sometimes I find myself like wanting them to achieve more than sometimes they're willing to put forth, right? In the sense that I'm always pushing them to be like the best version of themselves that they can be. And sometimes I take a step back and I'm like, hey, listen, I know I was pushing you hard. I just want to apologize. And I think I embedded it in them so much that even my oldest daughter, she sit down with me and like, hey, I need to talk to you. And I'm like, what's up? And like, I feel like I'm the kid, you know? And I sit down and she's like, so you always push us to be whatever we want to be, right? I'm like, yeah. So why you stop pushing me? Like, what you mean? Like, why weren't you tough on me? Why didn't you push me to my limits? And like, all I can do is like smile, because I love stuff like that. When people do that to me, I get a kick out of that. So, but to see them appreciating it at such a young age, it's like, to me, that's a blessing. Like, I don't know. Like, my father did it to me. I ain't like it. I ain't gonna lie to you. I was like, this MF right here, man, when I get older, I'm gonna have to see about him. Like, I'm on some other stuff, but to see like the maturation of my kids and their maturity level at 10, 11, 12 years old is like, it's shocking to me. It is totally shocking to me. So I don't know, man. And to go to that financial situation, that was another thing. I started giving my kids money at like the age of 4 or 5. Like, hey, this is your money. Do with it what you want. They get allowances, legit allowances.
They learn the value of money.
They do, they do. So I give them money, and they're like, "Oh, I want this toy. Did you bring your money? No, I'm sorry. I can't buy that for you." Then they start bringing their money out. Then they spend their money. Next time we go out, they ain't got the money.
They ain't got no money.
Hey, what happened? I spent it. I'm sorry. But they at the age of 10, 11, 12, like they are legit. Like they can probably balance a checkbook, but I can't at this point. A checkbook. I'm trying to tell you, man. I'm trying to tell you.
It's the way you gotta do it, man.
address your kids, man.
Hey, man. My oldest is 8. My youngest is, what month is it? October? Be about what, 3 months now? And I got one in the middle that just turned 2. So my oldest, man, that's my guy. He everywhere with me every time I go home. He the most responsible kid in the whole entire world. Like I'm telling you, he be everywhere, doing everything, helping his mom with his little brothers, going grocery shopping. This man be pushing the cart, grabbing what the heck you need to put in it, reminding me, hey, Dad, we got to go out to the football field so I can be ready for this and ready for that. 6 o'clock in the morning. I'm like, bro, all right, cool. It's the motivation that you put in the kids, man. Like you were saying, and he know I don't spend my money on him. He be hustling his grandparents so good. This man got a wallet full of money. Go out with it. Gigi, I was just wondering if I could get this over here.
Oh, with the polite voice.
Yo, yeah.
I know it's like,
But it's crazy, like when you see, I know what made me start changing me is when I started seeing the negative parts of myself, like come out of my kids. Cause my attitude was like terrible. And like one day, my son didn't get what he wanted. It wasn't towards me or his mother. Grandma didn't let him do what he wanted. He snapped. Boy, I jumped over that couch so fast, I didn't know what to do. He just started, I don't have to do this, and da-da-da-da-da, and he threw something down, and it broke, and I was like, oh no, this ain't it. So that's what made me, and I'm like, all right, cool. He done been to work with me. He done seen me snap on an airman or two, and even a supervisor. So he must think this is okay. He didn't do it to me, because he's not that crazy. But I gotta change my behavior. so that this is not embedded in him going forward.
I think that's the key though, like the fact that us as like fathers have to teach our kids not only to respect us, but their mothers as well.
Yep.
Like, so when I'm home, my kids will never disrespect their mother. If I walk out the house or I leave, they feel like
They feel
it's
like it's
okay.
free play. Like,
yeah. And I'll come home and she be like, mad, like, what's going on? And she's like, oh, this happened. What'd you do? Nothing. Like, I just talked to her. That's the difference. I think that's the difference in the raising of the kids. I would address that situation. Like, oh, so you think because I'm not in the house that you can just do this and I'm gonna fix it? So like you said, but at a certain point, the kids get too old for you to do that, right? Like you get to the point where you have to just start having these conversations, so you don't set a precedence that it's okay for like a grown man to spank you or like put your hands, yeah, type of thing. So I don't know, like my daughters now, even me being out here in Turkey, me and my kid's mother, we're not together. So she'll call me like, hey, this is the issue I'm having. She tries to address it, but it's as simple as me just having a phone call, like, hey, why are you doing it? Me having like open dialogue, like why you think that was okay? Why you think that's acceptable?
I think because you probably have a more direct approach to it, and obviously, I don't want to say that they respect you more, but they have.
I think that's exactly
you think
what
that
it
is.
is. I think the fact that, like I said, like people being afraid to address situations every time they come up, it sets a precedence to let little things in. So it starts off small and it becomes a big thing. But if I address it every time, you just like, I'm not even messing with this dude because I know he's gonna say something.
Yep.
Like, so yeah, like I think that's what it is. I think it's a respect factor. So even with me being thousands of miles away from my kids, me having a simple phone call is like, hey, why you not listening to your mother? Instant tears. I'm sorry, blah, blah, blah. Like, no, don't apologize to me. You need to apologize to your mother. You need to go walk in that room and explain to her why you feel like you sorry or why you apologize for your actions. Like, don't just say it just to shut me up, or don't just say it just to, like, get out of the situation. You need to be able to literally explain it to a T, how you messed up, what you plan on doing better, and how it's not gonna happen again.
and why you thought it was okay for you to do that to her. Like, that's the craziest thing to me, man. I just be sitting there, I'll be on FaceTime and watching this kid jumping from couch to couch. I'm like, what in the world are you doing? And I'll call his name and he'd be like, oh, go sit down somewhere.
I think I got that old school approach though. Like when I'm not really like, I really, you can, I was with my ex-wife for like 8-9 years. I'm not the raise your voice type of guy. I'm just like I walk in the room while I look and it's just like, oh shoot.
The look is key.
You got
The look is
Samuel
key.
Jackson look.
Hey,
That
Daddy.
old school Samuel Jackson look.
Yeah.
Hey, when you get the hey daddy, what's going on? All the questions like,
I know what you did.
What you do?
y'all in
You
here
did
doing?
something wrong. Like let me holler at you real quick.
Would you break?
Talk to your mother before I get to fooling with you. But now I love my kids, man. Like just as hard as I am on my kids, I'm that much of like I'm the immature person in my house. Like I'm the same person that like man, we roll around, we do dumb stuff. I'm goofy as hell. Like I don't give a hell. I get on the floor right now with my kids here, act like a damn dinosaur, go tickle monster and all that other shit. Like I'm that person. Like I don't mind it, bro. Like I play both aspects. Like especially now that I was like a single dad, especially before I came out here. Like I was the father and the mother. Like I had to be sensitive. I had to be emotional. I had to express myself to my kids in a way that they can see a different side of me and not necessarily just be a disciplinarian. So it's like, it's tough to find that balance. And then just like in life, like the separation was tough for me. So like I would mask my emotions in front of my kids. But at certain times, especially when we take road trips or we drive from Virginia to DC, it's a 2-hour drive, and a certain song or something to come on and I get like a little emotional tear come on my face. Like to this day, it saddens me, but my kids will cry if they hear that song because they're not really used to seeing me emotional. So it's like some other stuff. But I think the fact that I was able to do that, it expressed to them, and I would talk to them about it too, but it lets them know like, hey, you don't have to bottle everything up. You don't have to try to be who I was because I wasn't man enough to express myself. So I literally, when people, I don't know if people would look at this negatively or not, but I would confide in my kids. Like I don't really confide in my friends about stuff that hurt me, but I'll tell my kids in a heartbeat just so they know that they have the ability to let it out to somebody. So like things that hurt me, I may not tell you, but my kids know about it. And I'm not trying to put that emotional responsibility on them by no means, but I want them to be able to hey, I have an issue. I want to vent because my dad vents. type of thing. So
You feel like you breaking a cycle?
I think so, for
As
sure.
us as fathers?
For
You
sure.
feel like you breaking a cycle as fathers?
You know the weird thing?
Definitely. Like, I know for me, like, I love my dad. My pops is my best friend. Like, definitely, like, hands down. But I feel like growing up, he would just tell me, I got a tattoo on my ribcage. Do the right thing. You all right? Cool. Like, there was those deep conversations that I have with my son and you having with your kids. I'm just like, they weren't there.
Yeah, feel you know. I feel you know. Like my pop, you know, I did grow up in a household with my pops, but he wasn't. He didn't know how to be a dad. Like he didn't know how to interact and show love. But his thing was he was a provider. You get what I'm saying? He worked. He made sure we didn't go without lights, without food, clothes, X, Y, Z. But as far as just actually sitting down, putting in time, having those conversations, discussions, showing you how to cut the yard, how to wash the clothes, and all that good stuff. Didn't show that. But that's a step that I took what he did show me, which was working, and I went a step further. As far as now, I will be on the ground, rolling around, playing Tickle Monster or whatever. I will have those conversations. I'm still a disciplinarian, but I will. I'm going a step further. I'm adding those things, those other aspects, and I'm because I just want to break that curse, man. He was a doggone good man, damn good man, but he didn't know how to be a dad. So I'm just picking up where he left off and adding to that, and building that foundation. So now my kids will see. You know what I'm saying? They see, okay, dad did this, and dad was there, and dad was able to talk to me and X, Y, Z. So yeah, I'm just adding on. So when they become fathers and become mothers, it just it just builds from there. Because right now the cycle was. Yeah, all thing you did was you had, you was the man of the house, you took care of the household, but that was it. So you really didn't know your kids. I mean, that cycle was generations, man. And I'm just determined to break that, man.
Yeah.
So
I think with my father, like I agree with everything you just said. One thing that stood out to me was when you said he didn't know how to be a dad. My father was definitely a good father. He was a man of like respect though. Like he didn't like really tolerate any BS. Like from anybody, not just us as kids, but anybody. He was a damn good father in terms of how he raised us, to make sure we were always responsible for our actions, for sure. Like the same concept where he say, he used to always tell us like, whatever you go. He never told me not to sell drugs. My father never told me not to do that. My father never told me not to get arrested. My father never told me not to commit a crime. He said, whatever you're gonna do, be the best at it, but accept the consequences. Same concept that I teach my kids. The stuff that I value, I keep it and I added it to my kids. The thing my dad was, he was a short guy too. He don't be mad I said that. He's a short man syndrome. So he had like the attitude out the yin yang, right? So he would literally attack anybody who had an issue with him. Like just like what? Boom. Like that's just who he is. I think I think growing up and realizing like he brought a lot of good stuff to the table. I also realized the things that I wish he would have brought or wish he would have been better at. And I feel like I try to fill that gap with my kids.
I feel the same way because it's like you said, my pops, like I said earlier, is my best friend. It was just certain things like my mom was a disciplinarian. Like she lost hers all the time. She's Jamaican, so she had a terrible attitude problem. Hi, Mom. But yeah. My pops would always be there after I done got my ass whooped. He'd be like, look, man, I done told you, like, you gotta chill. I'm like, all right, cool. And I'm like, but why? There was never no follow-up for that. So like, that's what I do for my son. I just be like, look, you do this gonna be your result. Well, why is that? And I'll let him know why. And he'll be like, oh, okay, cool. He liked to test boundaries with his mother though, so he's still gonna go and do it. And then when he get that result, I just look at him and be like, hey. I'll let you know what was gonna happen.
Yeah.
So, yeah, for me it's just your parents always want you to be better than them anyway, and I want all three of my sons to be better than me.
I think we just gotta take the time to make sure we pour into our kids the values we want them to have. When they get older, things like that. I mean, they're gonna eventually go astray because that's just the natural maturation of maturing and finding your own world. like around that 13-year-old mark, things like that, where they start to hear their friends a little more than they hearing your voice, or they start to hit that cycle, or whatever it is. Like, you got to be willing to fight through that. You got to be willing to storm that, weather that storm, and then on the back end where they mature enough to be like, okay, I had my phase where I wanted to challenge authority for no reason. Now I can actually start making decisions for myself. Like, be willing, ready, and able to weather that storm. But outside of that, man, we about to close this thing up. Y'all got any closing remarks, any shout outs y'all want to make to anybody, your kids, your family members, anything like that?
Nah, man, I think I'm good. Just, just make sure you guys make sure y'all stay positive in all aspects, man. If y'all ever need to talk to me about anything, I'm always here. Y'all should know that. We've been close for a long time since I've been here, so y'all know that.
Yeah, no, I appreciate y'all, man. Y'all are doing something good. What y'all got here, man, it's really something good. It's positive, man, and it's gonna be blessed, man. It's continue to be blessed, man. So y'all, and if I can help y'all with anything, hey, man, I'm here. I'm gonna do what I can to make it happen, man. And hopefully y'all seen it. And hey, I try to be a man of my word at all times, man. So yeah, but hey, this is good. This is positive, man. It's positive.
I appreciate y'all coming to our little platform and discussing some issues, giving us y'all honest opinion, honest feedback. Any closing remarks that you love?
Oh, I was gonna go last.
Oh, it's cool. I'm gonna shout out my kids, man, since we talking about the subject, man. Jayla, how you doing, baby girl? I love you. Soraya, Aubrey, Tyrese, love all y'all, man. Y'all need anything, y'all know daddy here for y'all.
Yeah. Jaden, Uridia, Zacchaeus, daddy love you. Man, cannot wait to get back to y'all.
Hey, Joshua, Josiah, Jacoby, I love y'all. I'll be home soon. And, damn straight nation, everybody that's here with us at the pod right now, we appreciate all of y'all coming out. And we out of here, man. We'll catch you on the next episode.